Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna show you how you can install Ubuntu on Raspberry Pi. You can use this same method to install any operating system in any of your Raspberry Pi device. So let's begin. So first of all, you will need the Raspberry Pi. I got this Raspberry Pi kit from Amazon. It came with the 4 USB port, Ethernet port, power, HDMI, and microphone plug. So this came with the case, which I really liked it because since you will be using this as some kind of a computer or device to do your fun stuff, it's better to have the case for it. The back side, you will slide in the SD card. You can have 16 or 32 gigabyte SD card you will require to install the operating system or any of the projects that you want to do with this Raspberry Pi. It also came with the power switch. You can use this switch to turn it on, turn it off. It looks really nice with the case on it, so it doesn't look like just a blank hardware, so it kind of look really neat. That is the switch. You plug that with the power outlet that came with the Raspberry Pi kit. Then you can connect the other end with the power. The 16 gigabyte that I have SD card that I'll be using to install the operating system that goes on the back of the Raspberry Pi. Once you install the operating system, it slides in really good and I really like it. I'll be using this external hard drive that I have. This is a, I believe, 4 terabyte hard drive that I have. I will be using this to store files. I'm thinking about creating a server, a simple server, like a home NAS system. So we'll see how it goes later on. So these are the hardware, that's the power. So let's start installing the operating system and go from there. You will need to connect keyboard and mouse to have access to your operating system. I have connected the HDMI cable to one of my extra monitor that I have. You can connect the power, and also you will need to connect the hard drive if you want to plug the hard drive as well. You will also need the internet connection, so I will be using the Ethernet connection to the Raspberry Pi. I have a 5-port switch that I'm currently using. One I'm currently using for my home NAS system from the Synology, and one I will be using from my switch to the Raspberry Pi. So the black cable is coming from my modem to my switch, so it can have the multiple port available to have the Ethernet port access for the later use on other project as well. So once everything is connected, you are ready to install the operating system. There are a couple of things that you would require to install the operating system in the SD card. So you can use the SD card on the back of the Raspberry Pi. So the system will be booted from the Raspberry Pi. I mean the SD card later on whenever you restart. So for this you will need the SD card adapter to plug it into your computer, otherwise you won't be able to upload the operating system in the SD card. So I have this Anchor SD card adapter that I got it from the Amazon. So let's head back to Google search, and we wanna look for download Raspberry Pi imager. Select the first option that pops up, that will take you to a Raspberry Pi.org website. You can see the option called install Raspberry Pi OS using Raspberry Pi imager, download and install the software. I'm using the Windows, so I'll download for Windows. You can download for Mac OS. You can also install for Ubuntu if you already have Ubuntu installed in your system. So you can use this imager to install any of the operating system in the SD card. So I'm installing the Raspberry Pi imager in my computer. This might take a little time. So once it is installed, open it up. You can go to a SD card and select your SD card you currently have put in your USB hub with the extender, and for the OS select other general purpose OS. You can also install Raspberry Pi default operating system. I'll select other and go to Ubuntu. We want to install Ubuntu server. We don't want to install any other operating system. I will select the Ubuntu server 20.10 looks like. So I will use this one, and later on we will install the desktop version of the Ubuntu. So it says if I wanna delete everything on my SD card, I select yes. It will prepare the SD card to write all the data inside the SD card. Then the operating system will be installed. So once everything is installed on the SD card from the Raspberry Pi imager, take out your SD card from your adapter and put it on the back of the Raspberry Pi where the SD card supposed to be going on. I'm trying to plug it in since I'm recording using my left hand and trying to plug it in the SD card back of the Raspberry Pi. So once it is installed inside the back of the Raspberry Pi, you can go ahead and turn on the switch for the power. So you can see and there's a red light and also a green light blinking. I think the red light signifies the power is connected, and the green light is saying there is some kind of drivers or the OS available. Once it boot up, you can see it will show kind of a rainbow color in the screen, and it will start installing the software, the operating system from the SD card. As you can see, it is currently going through all the files, trying to install the operating system. Since this is a server, Ubuntu server, it will have like a command prompt screen later on where you can type the command and you can start using the server. Since we will be installing the desktop version of the Ubuntu, I will show you what command that you need to use to install the desktop version of the Ubuntu. As you can see, it will display all the IP address information. Since I already changed my IP address, I'm using a VPN to connect to my internet. So it will go through all the necessary command that it need to execute from the library as well as from the operating system. So it will take a little time to complete the whole process. It will ask you to enter the username and password. The default username and password for the Ubuntu server is Ubuntu and Ubuntu. Looks like I typed it incorrect, so I will have to retype the password. Once you retype the password, it will start getting some of the files again. I believe it will ask me to rechange the password later on the process as well, which will be the password that you will require to use if you wanna install any other stuff in the Ubuntu. For example, we will be updating the server to a desktop version from the command line. At the time when you use the sudo command, you will require to use the password to log in. It will ask couple of time for you to log in, so you'll have to use the same username and password, the default username and password Ubuntu to install the software. Yeah, right here you will need to change your password, so you can give any password that you want to give to change. So you'll have to remember this password, since you will need this password later later on as well to install the other operating system. Looks like I retyped the wrong password, so it should say the password has been successfully updated. Now we are ready to install the desktop version of the Ubuntu. So I want to clear my screen. Then the command you want to type is sudo apt get install Ubuntu hyphen desktop. So this is the command that you wanna type in, and hit enter after that. So it will go through this whole bunch of information that it need to pull out. It will take a little time. I think it took me a couple of hours to install the desktop version of it. I was tired of waiting, so I went to bed because I started late. You might run into some issue in the first place that the operating system, the desktop version won't install correctly. So what you want to do is you want to restart, power off your Raspberry Pi, uh, power back on, then you want to retry to install the Ubuntu server. Then after that, when that is completed again, then you want to go and type that command, and it should work on the second time. If the second time does not work, check your internet connection. then try to install using that as well. So first of all, what I want to do is I want to go and open the terminal and try to install the update and upgrade the system as well. So as you can see, Ubuntu is fully functional. You can use this for your daily work. You can use the Linux system to do many of the things, mm, and it will help you to learn more about how the Linux operating system functions as well. So that's it for this video. Please like, follow, and subscribe. Thank you very much.